Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Tech Tides. My name is Nithin. I am the Associate Director for Research at Teal. I have with me my colleague Rakesh Teal, who is also Associate Director for Research at Teal. Welcome to our latest episode, Rakesh.
Thank you so much, Nithin. I think it's really good to be back on Tech Tides. I really enjoyed doing our first episode with you, and I believe we are connecting after a long time. And I'm really excited to having a productive discussion with you. And I hope that today we can have a discussion that our viewers find insightful and thought-provoking as well.
Great. As most of you must be knowing, Tech Tides is a platform, analyst-driven platform, which helps to simplify technologies and make it more understandable to every individual. In our last episode, we discussed about BCDR and how businesses should have a hybrid BCDR or a BCDR 2.0 approach for their evolving business. In our latest episode, we will be talking about a topic which has become a buzzword today, which is generative AI. Today, most of there is a line that is getting blurred between AI and generative AI, and most of us would be keen to understand what are some of the key differences when it comes to AI as well as generative AI. My colleague Rakesh, who is currently authoring a report on generative AI, will be answering most of these questions and would help us to understand if generative AI is just a polished version of AI or something more than that. Without further delay, I would now like to ask this question to Rakesh. So Rakesh, my first question to you is, what is that fundamental difference between a traditional AI and generative AI?
That's a very good question to start off, right? So, all right, let's try to clear the haze around this. The fundamental difference between a traditional AI and Gen AI boils down to their core capabilities and the impact that they have on business operations. Now, Nithin, you and I are analysts, right? Now, we look at data and come up with insights or predictions.
Correct.
Traditional AI is like a really smart analyst, if you will. It processes large amounts of data and finds patterns and can make predictions, helping businesses become more data-driven, optimize operations, and improve efficiency. But Gen AI or generative AI, it's like a different beast altogether. Instead of just analyzing data, Gen AI is capable of creating data or new content from the data. Now, think of it as having a creative genius in the room that can generate entirely new ideas, designs, or solutions from scratch. This type of AI uses advanced models to produce original outputs that are not directly derived from the existing data, which is the prime difference between Gen AI and traditional AI. But the key distinction lies in the objectives and outputs. The primary objectives for a traditional AI could be just around understanding and predicting. It takes what already exists, processes it, and provides insights based on the historical data that is available to it.
Okay.
Now, traditional AI, in this sense, it's excellent for improving efficiency, automating routine tasks, and making informed predictions. But the objectives for Gen AI are starkly different, where Gen AI focuses on innovation and creation. It doesn't just restrict itself to processing just the data. It generates new, unique content. Why is this important? Because this capability is what allows businesses to explore uncharted territories and develop novel solutions, which were, in a sense, previously unattainable when they were just having traditional AI. Now, for enterprises who are struggling to, let's say, understand whether they should go for traditional AI or generative AI, I think I have a short opinion. This is just my personal POV. Now, if your business objective is to streamline and optimize your current processes, then traditional AI, for the most part, can help you do that. But if you truly want to focus on innovation and differentiation, GenAI can be a really good asset to your organization. To sum it up, understanding what problem we are trying to solve might tell us whether we really need traditional AI or if we truly need GenAI. I think that's my answer to this question.
Yeah, I mean, quite makes sense, right? So you did say that why the understanding the objective becomes important, whether we need to go for a AI based implementation or generative AI based implementation. So as a follow-up to that, I just want to understand what specific enterprise needs or problems are best addressed by generative AI, and compared to traditional AI, and why? Why would a company why should a company go to a generative AI project rather than sticking to a traditional AI implementation?
While I'm no GenAI expert, I will try to answer this question based on the insights that I've gathered from our supply side and demand side conversations with industry experts and business leaders. Let's start with customer service, probably the most granular form of GenAI implementation today. Over the last decade, we've had chatbots which have been using traditional AI for automating tasks and generating responses to common queries, right?
Mm-hmm.
But GenAI can craft entire conversational scripts that sound human and are customized to each customer situation. Therefore, GenAI can be like your virtual assistant, which not just answers queries, but does so in a very personal and natural manner, making your customers feel truly understood and valued. End of the day, customer service is only as good as the experience that your customers have while receiving your service. Now, beyond customer service, right? Now consider content generation and personalization. Traditional AI can help you figure out what type of content is relevant and what type of content works. But like I mentioned before, GenAI goes a step beyond this by actually creating your content. Imagine needing personalized emails, social media posts, or even detailed reports. GenAI can generate these automatically and in a fraction of a second that too. It's like having a creative team on demand, producing unique content tailored to each requirement that you have, which can be a significant boost to your engagement and satisfaction when it comes to your customers.
Okay.
Moving on to, let's say, product design and development. This is the R&D space, right? Now, GenAI is a real game changer here. Traditional AI can suggest improvements based on data, but GenAI can generate new product ideas and prototypes. The key word here is innovation. Innovation is what really sets apart GenAI from traditional AI. Based on your business data, GenAI can allow you to innovate faster and create unique products that meet your specific customer needs. And we always talk about, fail fast and fail safe. With GenAI, you can truly take that approach, and you can innovate faster as what sets apart or is what gives R&D that edge which it didn't have with traditional AI. Now, and finally, we have creative functions such as marketing and advertising. Now, while traditional AI can predict which strategies can work for your marketing and ad campaigns, GenAI can create those campaigns itself. Now, it can create compelling campaigns, designs, engaging visuals, and even produce videos, as we would have recently seen in the case of OpenAI, where videos, text, images, they all are part of the spectrum of GenAI offerings. Now, whether this can affect our creative thinking and originality, I think that's a debate that we can have on another day. But to sum it up, GenAI is best suited for tasks that require creativity, personalization, and innovation.
Okay.
But these are today's use cases. I'm sure the next few years, we'll have several more to add on to this list.
Yeah, true. we definitely will have more use cases. I mean, this is just a nascent phase of generative AI, and probably as businesses start pursuing these projects or implementing these AI projects, we'll definitely see more use cases emerging there. So one last question before we wind up, Rakesh. I just want to understand what should be some of the key considerations of businesses when they are implementing generative AI into their existing AI infrastructure.
That's a very good question that you ask here, because it's not easy to, find a textbook on Gen AI implementation. What works for one company might not be applicable to the other, right? But companies that have actually been successful in deploying Gen AI can serve as a referential checklist of items to answer this question. First off, like I mentioned before, problems, right? So they are identical to your use cases. Therefore, identification of use cases should be on top of your checklist is what I feel. Now, organizations need to be clear about what specific problems or opportunities they want to address with Gen AI. It is also important to evaluate if Gen AI makes sense in a strategic context of the business, or if they're just riding the hype train. Now, identifying the right use cases can go a long way in ensuring that Gen AI is being used effectively. Next comes data requirements. Now, we all know that Gen AI thrives on data, and that it is only as good as the data that we feed. Companies need to assess whether their existing data can support these needs. Do they have the right data? Is that data well organized and accessible for Gen AI to function properly? And beyond this, there's another key question as well, which is, if I'm a business, what if I don't have the data for a Gen AI implementation? What should I do then? I think these are some of the questions that need to be answered from a data standpoint. Speaking of data, scalability also becomes a concern, right? As Gen AI grows, the data that it requires and the data that it processes will also grow exponentially. This means scalability requirements will consequentially grow along with it. From a solution standpoint, I think starting with a smaller, manageable pilot projects can help gauge your scalability requirements, and you can take it from there before fully scaling up.
Yeah.
Beyond data, I think in a similar vein, infrastructure also plays a key role, and it's also something that organizations need to assess. They need to evaluate whether their current infrastructure can meet the demands for Gen AI, and this can involve an evaluation on, let's say, upgrading your servers, your storage solutions, and your network capabilities to see if they are robust enough to handle the demands of Gen AI workloads. And just like how we spoke about data evaluation, companies also need to ask themselves if their infrastructure is enough or sufficient for Gen AI. What if it is not? Should they always go for a complete overhaul, or is there a modular approach that they can follow? Right? This is as far as infrastructure goes. Now, interestingly, industry experts tell me that the most important function is the human element, or just like how we call it, talent and expertise. Now, integrating Gen AI isn't all about technology, right? It's also about the people who will be using and managing it.
Correct.
Now, in that sense, businesses need to understand if their teams are ready for Gen AI. Do they have the right personnel and expertise? What are their current obstacles and concerns? And how can this transition to Gen AI be smooth? And I think we're on the right track as far as this is concerned, because most Indian enterprises, as of today, right, have trained a significant portion of their workforce on Gen AI, which is a good sign, Nithin, I believe, because it shows commitment towards addressing a key challenge in the Gen AI space.
Yeah.
And last but not least, the crucial file on a CXO's table, cost and ROI evaluation. Now, integrating Gen AI can be a significant investment, like we all know. I mean, it comes with your cost of procuring LLMs. Like most people need help with their Gen AI implementation, so there are costs associated with service providers and whatnot. So it's important to consider the cost and potential return on investments. But identifying ROI for a Gen AI project can be tricky because A, the technology itself is nascent, and B, the realization might take anywhere from a few months to a few years. But there are still ways to show incremental improvement metrics in let's say, efficiency, cost, and time savings, which can be huge factors in securing a Gen AI funding from top management. Beyond these, there are obviously the considerations on ethics, security, etc. But I guess that warrants a separate discussion. So I guess these are some key considerations for a Gen AI implementation, according to me.
Yeah. So as you said, cost is just one aspect for any generative AI implementation. There are other aspects involved as well. The mindset of the management. More importantly, the data that we have, whether they can make sense of it when they are implementing something like a generative AI project. And probably also it also boils down to whether they need something like a generative AI project, or the business can live with the existing AI tools or the capabilities that they have. Great perspective there, Rakesh. Thanks for giving these inputs. I think it will help our audience to understand and make some further progress in their understanding of AI versus generative AI versus the traditional AI. Thank you for those great answers. We'll again connect in our next episode of Tech Tides.
Thank you so much, Nithin. I believe, I mean, while this discussion wasn't entirely technical, I believe that I was able to answer some of the questions that are probably in the minds of today's CIOs who are looking to embark on their Gen AI journey. So I should thank you for this opportunity and for having me on this episode. I look forward to discussing more with you in our future episodes.
Sure, Rakesh. We'll certainly connect again with a new topic. We'll try to again the whole objective of simplifying the technology so that it is understood by every individual. We'll try to make this will make more such topics which will help people to understand these aspects in a better way.
Absolutely. And I would also implore our viewers to ask questions based on this episode and our future episodes, because our insights are only as good as the views that we get from you as well. So please feel free to drop in your questions and comments.
Yeah. Thanks, Rakesh. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.